Hi, I'm Chris Monteith here working with Indicom and Monotech on replacement solutions. What we have right here is a Siemens, many different names for it, Hyundai Hytrol, Siemens, Cinematic. Basically it's a 14-inch CRT color monitor with 3 BNC input. Goes into many different types of Siemens types of machines. What we're going to be doing is replacing it with a 12.1-inch LCD, and the only tools that we need are your basic torque, flathead screwdriver, and a Phillips screwdriver. So in the next few minutes we're going to step this through, try not to make it too choppy, and we're just going to get right to the point on how to put it all together. Very simple, low-cost way to replace your Siemens controller. So we've taken 4 screws apart with your Phillips screwdriver and removed the back cover. This is your basic CRT monitor. You have your CRT tube and the electronics. The only part that's going to remain is your outer shell, the inner frame, and the BNC cables at the back. And we'll walk through the rest of it. Okay, 4 more screws and the unit comes out of the front case. This is the CRT monitor. You have some user controls here that you need to also disconnect. Pretty straightforward. This is as simple as it gets. It's more work to take it apart than put it back together. You can do it, or for an extra $100 you can send it to us and we can do it for you. But basically this is pretty straightforward on how we do this. We just took out the electronics out of the frame. It was needed a few more tools than first anticipated. You can use wrench, pliers. We also need a 5/16 socket and a pair of needle nose or side cutter, some kind of cutters to break tie wraps. But pretty much that's pretty straightforward. What you're left with is this frame with BNC still stuck on the back and your electronics that you're going to properly dispose of based on your community and how they recycle electronics. And so we're going to get rid of that, and our next step is mounting the LCD onto this frame to put it exactly where it needs to be for when it gets put into this frame. Okay, our next step, we actually got rid of the electronics and we mounted the LCD in place simply on the four mounting posts. We also had to remove the original bezel. We're getting rid of the curved bezel and putting in so we can have a flat area for the LCD, and also the foam. And we took out the user controls. User controls aren't needed. You don't need the user to dim the screen anymore because the LCD doesn't burn in. Your image is going to be perfect all the time, and you don't have to worry about stuff like the old CRT where if you hadn't noticed with this one, the original unit was really burnt in. So on the back, we got a brick power supply. It's an AC power supply. We're going to put it here and just use a simple tie strap technique and mounting it in place. Very straightforward, simple. And the LCD itself is just a 12-volt LCD that plugs in right about there. And we're almost done. A few more steps and we'll be done. So we did a final assembly, which was basically put the rear frame back onto the front bezel. If you want to put the rear cover on, we didn't in this case, but you can. It's not needed. There's nothing back here you can get anybody can get their hands on to get hurt. So you can throw that piece of metal away, or if you want, you can put it on if you want everything to look the same. The BNC cables were plugged in exactly, simple. The connector was provided, and the AC had the proper connector too. You just plugged it in nice and simple. And it all goes back together, and 4 screws bolts the case back on. What I have here, if you don't have the machine on with you, or you want to test it out, make sure it works before you go out to the machine and change things around, I just brought a simple laptop and plugged it in. Simple VGA signal will work with it. It'll do a lot more than VGA, but just for a simple test on the bench, proving that your LCD is working, ready to go, it's all set. So that's, in a nutshell, the whole process. It's very simple install. No soldering iron, no crimping wires, no doing anything special. It's just just basic tools. And the product itself comes from Monotech with a 1-year warranty, and you're going to get 5 to 8 more years life of it out of your machine with a very crisp display, and you never have to worry about image being burnt out or worn out, and a high quality display. So if you have any questions about this installation or others, we do many different types of industrial monitors, or if this brings up more questions, simply send us an email. We're gladly to answer any questions. Or if you have another display that you want to know if we can do an LCD retrofit to, or that you can do an LCD retrofit to, definitely send us an email. We'll be able to tell you pretty much right away what we know about the unit and how easy it is for you to install. Everything up front, all the details, very graphic, and when you're doing the install, we also have support, so you can give us a call if you're having any difficulty getting something on, or you're not sure, you're not comfortable with something, definitely be able to help you out over the phone. And any kind of displays, CRT, LCD, retrofits, we do them all. Give us a call, we're here to help.